So it is 2025 and Monster Hunter Wild is not that far away, so I've decided to make a wish list of what monsters I'd like to see in Wilds. I'm not expecting them all to be there or even a handful, but it would be awesome for them to bring some of the monsters from previous generations up to the newest generation for new players to experience and returning players to rejoice. Just to be clear, some of these monsters are going to be on the list because I enjoy fighting them, others based on their design or weapons and armors that can be made. Some also are monsters I've never hunted before, and the idea of getting a chance in Wilds is just too much of a good thing to pass up on. So let's get into the list. I have a love-hate relationship with this beast. When I first encountered Rajan in Monster Hunter World, I was not prepared for its ferocious aggression that it displays from start to end, and felt like I would likely have struggled more if I didn't have the insect glaive to launch myself into the air and dodge its attacks. In Rise though, you have so much movement options that it felt like a joke at times. So with my knowledge of Rajan across two titles, I feel like Wild's version would be an awesome fight that I'd love to see. And yes, I know we have a monkey beast already in the game, but nothing wrong with having two. Plus, Furious Rajan could simply bolster the roster. This fierce creature drove me to run away in fear of carting when hunting monsters, and I felt this sense of dread in so many encounters, being overwhelmed by its continuous aggression. It shook the experience at its core and brought an extra level of excitement to the game while always keeping my attention strictly focused on staying alive over damage. Monster Hunter Wild is going to be a huge launch with plenty of new players, and that sense of dread is something I hope Capcom focus on bringing to the game. And no monster has made that lasting impression like Diablos for me. While Gagala was present in Sunbreak, I think it's one of the best designed monsters. It carries this unknown sinister presence wherever it goes. So I want this in Wilds to see what it would look like on the new engine. I feel like the particle effects will be intense when they pull under projectiles, and when Gagala enrages they would just be working overtime as they flood off its wings, while its horns and claws glow with a purple hue. Now, Gagala can transcend its unknown creature status into an Elder Dragon when it becomes Shagarumagala, which is kind of this creature's thing, but I'd be happy if it did or it didn't. Though, I think it's given that if you get Gagala, you will be seeing it ascend to its Elder Dragon form. Zinogre may have come first in Monster Hunter's vote that Capcom held, but it's been in all these titles, and I feel like it being missed out in Wild's base game might be the case, especially with Raydal being a thunder based monster that has been heavily pushed to show its incredible control on lightning in the trailers. Nevertheless, I would absolutely love to see Zinogre in Wilds. Odaran's armor alone makes me want this monster in Wilds. In Worlds I was rocking that set for so long, even when it wasn't smart to be doing so, simply because of the skills and the overall look of the armor. Odaran is epic as well, as you see this oversized Oni wolf darting across the room doing huge lunges and closing the distance to give you a fraction of time to heal and deal with the bleed ailment that is inflicted on you. The Rafts are the Pikachu and Eevee of Monster Hunter, so they're most likely going to be in every game, and I've enjoyed the different variants which essentially give them a more aggressive moveset and apply constant pressure, but I'd love to see something different, like different elemental attacks. I would love to see a form of combination between the two during an attack, similar to what happens with Teostra and Lunestra. Maybe something like one creates a tornado while the other breathes ice on it, causing shards to fly out in different directions. Or a Rathalos breathes out an icy fog that hinders your vision, while the Rathian's claw and tails harness lightning, and the only way you can see them is from the yellow glow within the icy fog as it charges you down or swoops in. I don't know, I'm sure the creative team could come up with something interesting and balanced for players to encounter. Diablos has been in the last two games and featured in the blockbuster Monster Hunter movie. I feel like we need to give some love to Monobolos, I think that's how you say it, and what better time than now with Wilds. I'm unsure what the difference is between the two in a fight, but I'd happily drop Diablos and see what Monobolos can bring in terms of armors and weapons. To me, I feel like Anaf is a staple monster in the franchise. While it doesn't carry the mantle of the Monster Hunter mascot like Rathalos, Anaf to me it's just a big deal. It's a fire-breathing T-Rex, what isn't to love? Also, Anaf is the perfect step up from the first monsters into the bigger ones. While its size feels menacing when going from the introduction monsters, it doesn't carry the threat that it seems to on first glance. This fist-throwing monstrosity of blast damage would be a fierce thing to have roaming around wilds. All of its weapons and armors look cool, and this constant back and forth in a boxing match you grind out for its pieces to acquire them is so much fun. Plus I'd love to see some haymakers when it comes into turf wars, with new and old monsters alike. I want Gama in wilds so I could casually walk around with the most chill dude. After I got the crowns needed on worlds, I never attacked another Gama, and would actively battle any monster in Elder's Recess that laid a claw on them. I'm not a huge fan for the armor or the weapons, but this would be so good for the soul to just stroll around with this oversized dog buddy in peace. This mammoth-sized beast stands among a lot of monsters from the older generation, strictly on its size alone as it towers over all hunters. I'll be completely transparent on this, I simply want to fight it because of how big it is. I want to topple the giant in the snow, and Gama with its bristly like hair would definitely look insane the first time you encounter it. Another monster added to this list for its design, but also how fun they are to fight, is Glaveus. As it bites down on its iconic blade tail and imbues it with fire to spin itself towards you is one of the most hype moments when I first started playing Iceborne. I thought it looked awesome as its tail ignited and it began sending out attacks with a fire element effect, ramping up its damage. This would look so good in wilds. Once I saw these arachnids in the Monster Hunter movie, I was like, damn, imagine the weapons those things could be turned into. Fun fact, I didn't play Monster Hunter before I watched the movie, and I thought it was so bad that I needed to try out the games to see what it was all about. And here we are. Anyway, I feel like Wilds needs more insect-like monsters. While they already showed us Lalab Arena, I think Nersilia would be a good way to show off a new and old monster in the insects. Man, I feel like I'm about to butcher this name. Tetsukabra gives me the exact same feeling as Gama. I think he just looks like a chill dude, minus the raging underbite tusks, but still. I also have always liked the design of it. The colour scheme kind of makes it stand out across the monster catalogue. I'd be interested in fighting an overgrown colourful frog. It felt weird that they had a tamed one in Rise and never put it in the game, but you know, it is what it is. Since I started playing Monster Hunter World, I run into these three, and I always thought they had some kind of connection due to they all look kind of similar, like body-wise at least, which led to me referring to the Nagakuga, the Tigrex, and the Baroth as the trio. I love the monsters individually and even more as a group, as their similar frame is all they really share when it gets into the combat side of things. So add in any of them, that would be great, but add in all of them, that would be the complete package. And now for my Elder Dragon picks. Nergigante is my favourite Elder Dragon fight of all time. I've only fought Elder Dragons across the 5th generation of Iceborne and Sunbreak, but none of them have stood out to be as animalistic as Nergigante. This raw instinctual ferocity constantly imprinted on its face, while every action doubles down on that bloodlust. That made Nergigante stand out. It has a cool design and it feels like it would fit perfectly well in the world of wilds. Alatreon is a walking disaster waiting to happen, with its mastery over elements and sheer power being beyond that of other Elder Dragons. Alatreon, I feel it could always be in Monster Hunter games, similar to Fatalis, but I'm unsure if they're able to add it in until DLC, strictly with how powerful they're actually meant to be. Valhaak with its creepy rotten corpse design had me in awe at what the design team had made. The weapons and armors that came from them are also so sick, like edgy, but I do not care at all. They look so good. The way Valhaak breathes this miasma from its living corpse while excess seeps out of its flesh around it makes being prepared to deal with its ailments a priority. Namiella is my favourite designed Elder Dragon ever. It's the colour, it's the combination of water and lightning, but most of all, it's this cosmic deep sea never before seen design that instantly made Namiella my favourite Elder Dragon. The fight is also super fun, and it compresses water to a small beam, floods the arena and strikes the pools with lightning leading them to explode. Nakarkos is shrouded in mystery as it covers its body in bone for protection and camouflage. While its tentacles work within skeletons and skulls, it creates the illusion of a two-headed skeleton dragon. This sounds so cool, the idea that it hides itself while using bones to betray the skeletons as the target while it lingers underneath. I find it difficult to talk about it properly as I've never fought it, but just that combination sounds so cool. With the Elder Dragons, I just really want to see some fantastical monsters that do something different. I've seen Teostra and Kushala Diora enough, and while my list is wishful thinking, I do feel like all these monsters I picked would be a lot of fun for new and old players. I also have 2 honourable mentions. I feel like a fire variant of Kieran could be pretty cool. I've never really been a fan of the OG version after the first initial fight, but the idea that a Rajan also eats the fire horn and something different happens, that kind of just like stood out to me as something that could be really awesome. And Malino. While it was introduced in the Sunbreak expansion of Monster Hunter Rise, this Vampire Knight Dragon just has a sleek design that captures the essence of nobility. I feel like it would be an interesting monster that could come with a title update, similar to what happened with Velkhana appearing in Rise after its debut in Monster Hunter World Iceborne. I would be happy with anything on this list coming in title updates or DLC later down the line. Overall, this is just a list of monsters I would like to see. All of them have a standing place either by experience when fighting them or their designs and wanting to see what they look like in the most modern graphics. I hope they do variants right in this game, as I feel like variants weren't great in Monster Hunter Rise. Just faster and stronger and more aggressive, I guess. I hope they lean into changing up elemental typing and making new unique moves that the original couldn't possibly do, as to me these are the things that make the variants stand out. But that's my wish list of monsters I would love to see in Monster Hunter Wilds. Are there any monsters that you would rather see or not see in Wilds? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, I really appreciate it. If you've enjoyed the video, then leave a like, subscribe to see more, and let me know what you think about the list. I think my voice is going, so I'm gonna have to just send this off. Anyway, I hope you have a lovely day and or evening, and I'll catch you next time.